Yeah, I know, we were all like, wait a minute. First of all, how are you doing today? Good. Good physically in your body? How's your mind? You're sore physically? You get over on this side, you're always a little sore. Mine's good? Okay. So, this class is inspired from an event that I got to teach at on Saturday. So I was asked about a month ago to teach at this hotel banquet hall at the inn around Opulent Hotel. They had actually contacted Jen. Jen knows I live close to there. She was like, hey, can you do this? I was like, sure. So it was Saturday morning, and it was for a conference group for inflammatory breast cancer. And so it was a group of women who were at all different stages of breast cancer. It seemed pretty appropriate that I was the one asked to do this because my sister's been going through this journey this year. I don't have personal experience with it, but I've been kind of living it through her. And I knew that they were going to be very limited in what they could practice. So she's been telling me this year, because I've been trying to get her to do yoga. She was like, I can't do yoga, you know? And it's true, right? When she had the double mastectomy, when she had all the draining tubes hanging off, you're very limited, right? I mean, you've got a lot of scar tissue, you're still healing. She wasn't supposed to lift her arm any higher than her shoulder. And with these women being at different stages, I knew I'm going to be very limited on what I could teach them because I can't take the arms up. They can't do any weight-bearing exercises. Think about weight-bearing exercises. Tabletop, they can be in tabletop. Tabletop actually requires a lot of your chest muscles. So, I was trying to figure out how am I going to give them a practice because they wanted gentle power. I'm like, gentle power? That doesn't even make sense. But anyway, I did a very mild, gentle practice with them. And they all had a great sense of humor and were laughing and, telling jokes and which was actually really nice to see. My sister gets in that phase too, where she'll laugh about different appointments she has, and how she's being poked and prodded. And it is good to have a sense of humor when you're going through such devastating news and through something like that. That's such a crazy disease. It'll just help keep you sane, Anyway, one of the ladies in the middle of the class said, hey, can you talk about, the lymphatic system? And so I shared with them a little bit. So really this class is about the lymphatic system. And this class is the beginning of the month of October, which is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. We are going to be doing things for the lymphatic system. So the lymphatic system is a really important system in the body. Out of the blood capillaries, water, proteins, and other fluids leak out. And so the job of the lymphatic system is to collect this and to move it back into the bloodstream so that you are helping to prevent inflammation, illness, and disease. So it is important to have the lymphatic system getting drained. So there's different movements that we can actually do in yoga that can help with this. And if you look at the lymphatic system, one of the main organs with this is the spleen, because it purifies the blood. And the spleen is off on the left side, kind of a little higher up in the abdomen behind the diaphragm muscle. Then we have lymph nodes, and there's clusters of lymph nodes in the neck, in the armpits, in the chest, in the belly, and in the growing area. So if you or someone has ever developed a tumor, what they have to do if the tumor is cancerous, they need to check the lymph nodes, because if it's in the lymph nodes, then it has the potential to be carried to another part of the body. And then those cells can, build up elsewhere. So for my sister, she had a 4-inch tumor in her right breast. They went into her lymph nodes and there were 3 lymph nodes that the cancer had showed up in. So she had more extensive work and is still going through it. She's now taking chemo pills and going through radiation after she's been all through the surgeries and the chemotherapy. But Kim Rose, who attends here, you know, who just had a bout with colon cancer, well, they caught hers pretty early. They had to check the lymph nodes since it was colon cancer in her thigh, and only 1 lymph node was affected. Therefore, she didn't have to go through all the extensive extra precautionary steps that my sister's having to go through. So basically, some of the movements we're going to be doing today is helping the lymphatic system. So bouncing on one of those little trampolines is really good for the lymphatic system. I don't want to jump or bounce. We're not going to do that today. But you can do dry brushing, you know, those big brushes that you get for the bath or shower. If you brush it up in the direction of the heart, that's really good for the lymphatic system. You can get actual massages that do lymphatic work in the massage therapy. But there's also certain poses and positions we do in yoga that's really good for this. The breath work that's really good for this is the deep diaphragmatic breathing. So diaphragmatic breathing is good for this. Deep stretching is good for this, as well as contracting and releasing muscles. So whether you're being active or whether you're practicing yin, they're both going to be beneficial for this system of the body. And inversions. So the inversions where the hips and the heart are higher than the head, Uttanasana, down dog, headstand, shoulder stand, any of those, bridge pose, any of those are going to help the lymphatic system in the upper body. And what we'll be doing in downward facing dog is pumping the heels up and down. That will be our bouncing. We'll just be pumping up and down. That'll be good for the lower half of the body. Sound good? All right. So with that being said, since we're at the wall, let's just begin with legs up the wall. So we're going to scoot to the corner of the mat with our hips up. You'll lie down in a side fetal position as if you were rolling out of Shavasana. And then you'll roll your back to your mat and slide your feet up the wall. This pose is also good for the lymphatic system in the lower body because of this inversion and because of the relationship with gravity. So once you slide your feet up the wall, check in with your sits bones and hamstrings. If your hamstrings are tighter, you may need to scoot back so you're not flush to the wall. If your hamstrings are more open, you might be able to move all the way against it. Now, before you get too relaxed, I want you to keep your eyes open. I want you to look at your legs. Notice if one or the other is leaning left or right. Can they be perfectly straight and parallel? And then you're going to pump the feet up towards the ceiling, both the balls of the feet and the heels of the feet. So you've got that dorsiflexion. Nice. And now what I want you to focus on is pushing up through the mound of the big toe. When we really press up through the mounds of the big toes, it actually will work the inner quad, the inner thighs. And that's the section of the body that holds a bundle of lymph nodes. So stay active for a moment so that you're contracting the muscles. Beautiful. Now relax the ankles and feet. Now we can just hang out. Because the pose itself is also beneficial. Let this position help to go ahead and calm and collect your mind. So close the eyes. Pay attention to your breath. And instead of just allowing the breath to roll naturally, begin to manage your breath. Deepen the breath. Vaparita Karani. Legs up the wall. And affirming as you reside and breathe. New peace, new consciousness is flooding down and through my being. Now place your hands on your abdomen. The eyes can stay shut, but each time you inhale, try to create a Buddha belly. One of the ladies in the class on Saturday was laughing about her weight gain through her treatments. And she was saying, all my weight went to my belly. I now have a Buddha belly. And I told her sometimes that's what we refer to when we talk about the diaphragmatic breath. So allowing that belly to swell and expand as you breathe in. And then let it soften and relax as you breathe out. So we're going to stay inverted, but go ahead and crack your eyelids open and slide your feet into a V shape, not very wide, just a little wider than hip distance apart. And now bend the knees and slide the feet down the wall, turning the toes towards the corners of the room. Feet are still flat against the surface. Your knees are collapsing away from one another so that you're pulling this stretch into your hips and inner thighs. Remember, deep stretching, deep breathing is good for the lymphatic system. You just want to make sure that when you're getting into the shape that your buttocks isn't wanting to curl away from the ground, that your sacrum stays anchored to the floor. Take about 3 more breaths. Now we're going to move towards the butterfly position. So slide the feet now together. The knees stay fanned open and apart. Your feet might even slide a little lower, down towards the pubic bone. And feel free to give in to gravity that way if it's not disruptive to your breath.
New peace, new consciousness is flooding down and through my being. On your next inhale, just slide your feet up just a few inches and then close the knees together. And now let your feet be flat against the wall where your knees are angled in towards your chest, and prop your upper arms beside your ribs and take your hands to the front side of your thighs. The way to do rest release at the wall. If you don't have room to place your hands in front of your thighs, you can just let your hands slip to the back side of your thighs. So now let's gently roll away to the right side of the body. Push down into your left palm. All right, we're going to go ahead and come up to stand, but we're going to be using the wall. So the first thing I want us to do is stand with the right side. Not against the wall, not touching the wall, just close to the wall. And then you can do one of two things. You can either slide your right hand up behind your back, or you can take it up the wall and then slide it down behind your back. So it really depends on your shoulder, your range of motion, what feels natural. And then cast your gaze down towards your feet. Turn your toes to face forward. Line up ankles, knees, and hips. Press down through the feet. Roll your thighs inward and backward as if you were holding a block there. And then inhale, lift your left shoulder up towards the ear, and exhale, roll that shoulder down and back. Allow the heart center to stay lifted. Close your eyes. Notice that fibrous tissue where the arm attaches to the torso. Breathe into it. Maybe notice if you're holding any tension in your face or jaw. Take one last deep breath. And then go ahead and scoot a little closer to the wall. So your right hip is touching the wall and your right knee lifts in line with that hip. Good. Now go ahead and start to turn to face the wall and lift your left arm up. So we're trying to rotate the belly, the chest, the face towards the wall. You can even turn your head and gaze towards that right hand if that's acceptable to your neck. It may not be, so check in. Press down through the left foot and climb a little higher up through your left knee. And on your next out breath, you can soften the hands down and you can lower the right knee down. All right, we're gonna take that to the other side. So we'll turn the body. At first, we have just a little distance between us and the wall. The left arm can slide up and back behind you or overhead and then down behind you. Look down at your feet, line them up properly. Stack your leg bones, activate your inner thigh muscles, roll the right shoulder back, jut up through the sternum. Set your eyes in one place or close them. Check in with this particular side, sensing how this feels. If it's tighter or looser. If you're holding tension in your jaw, you may want to slightly part the lips. Ready. Side step, just slightly closer to the wall. The left hip can actually touch it at this point, and your left knee will slide up. Your foot will flex. And then start to turn towards the wall, elevating the right knee. Make sure your breath still has freedom to come and go. And then root your right foot, climb up a little higher with your right knee. And then exhale, relax the hands down and lower the left foot. All right, you're gonna turn to face the wall. And the first thing you're gonna do is a wall push. So your hands are in front of the shoulders as you step the feet back. You're sending your tailbone towards the center of the room. Your head is gonna lower between the upper arm bones. Your hands are pressing into the wall as your hips stretch back. And your belly is hugging in so that you're not bowing or swaying the back. A deep stretch on the underside of the arms into the pit of the arms. So that we can receive a flush through these lymph nodes that carry these white blood cells. Just look down towards the coloration of your mat. Now, slowly lift your head and shoulders long enough to step the feet forward. One more step, feet side by side. This time the hands go up higher than the shoulders. Your tailbone, again, pushes back to the center of the room, and you're gonna drape down with your heart. So it's very much like Anahatasana or melting heart pose. And we're going to walk your feet just a baby step forward and then push your seat back. That's it. Yep. Your heart is melting, your belly's draping. And gently press into the wall, back away from the wall, and lower the arms down. Okay, we're going to do a little strengthening with the shoulders. Some of you have done this with me. It's chaturanga against the wall. So what I want you to do now is step the feet forward so there's just a few inches between the toes and that surface. Your hands are going to be in front of your shoulder bones, just like chaturanga. Notice how when we put the hands here, the chest wants to lean forward. So lean the chest back. You want your head over your shoulders over your pelvis over your ankles. Okay, fly the elbows out to the sides a moment. Good, then crank them down so the elbows are pointed towards the floor and the arms are hugging in towards the side body. And so when you've got this action, you're gonna feel it down the strips of your neck. You're gonna experience it through the top of the shoulders. You're gonna experience the action even around the shoulder blades at your upper back. And this is how chaturanga should feel in the upper body when you're doing it, freestyle in the sun out. But again, the contraction and the release is just as beneficial as the deep stretching and deep breathing for the lymphatic tissues. Okay, let's allow the shoulders to take a break a moment. Turn around to face me. All right. Couple simple things with the shoulders. Inhale, lift the shoulders towards the ears. Good, then exhale, relax them down, right? Simple for us, but hard and difficult for them in their journey. Inhale, lift the shoulders. Good, exhale, relax. So just have gratitude that we can do this simple motion. Inhale, shoulders up, exhale, release. Now I'll do the shoulder rolls. Inhale, shoulders roll forward and up, and then exhale, roll them down and back. Inhale, forward and up. Good, exhale, down and back. And notice when you're rolling the shoulders back, how it does stretch the top portion of your chest and those pectoral muscles. Okay, last one. Good, and then relax. Okay, I want you to watch what I'm doing because some of you may not have done peak dog before. It's a new pose. It's only been around 15, 20 years. So peak dog is the wall push. We step the foot around and then we spin the heel down. Now look at the shape of the legs. It's the shape of the ribbon that we use for, things like breast cancer awareness month. Then we cup the right hand. We stretch back through the hips and we drop the head and look up underneath the arm. So it's really opening up all this connective tissue down the side of the body. And then we'll go to the other side too. All right, so the wall pushes first. We've already done that. And we'll step the right foot over and lower the heel. Push back through the vertebrae. And then cup your right hand, spill the head down, and look up underneath that right arm. And breathe. You can also do this from a countertop, from having your hands resting on the seat of a chair, or regular downward facing dog. Good. Now slide your right hand flat, uncross the right foot. Come back to the wall push. And then we'll step the left foot around, lower that heel, cup the left hand, press back through the spine, through the hips. Dropping the head, looking up underneath that left arm. And breathe. You were right, Nancy. Good. Now slide your left hand down, uncross the ankles, and you can pull back away from the wall. All right. Stand away from the wall. I don't think it'll be in our way, but just in case. So on your inhale, you're lifting your arms up. On your exhale, you're opening your palms. You have to be mindful of your neighbor at this next juncture. Inhale, expand your arms out wide. There we go. And then exhale, lower the arms. Right? This is all I could do with these women the other day. But this is still nice and effective. Inhale, arms lift in front of the chest. Exhale, spin the hands over. Inhale, extend the arms out. Even that, feel that. And then exhale, relax your arms. We're going to add in something different for the next two. Inhale, the arms float up in front of the chest. Exhale, the palms open wide. Inhale, this time when you open your arms out, you're going to squeeze the shoulder blades back. Good, and then exhale, relax the arms. One more like that. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, open up your palms. Inhale, create the T, but then back up your hands and feel that squeeze in the shoulder blades. Good, and exhale, relax the arms. Awesome. We're going to come down to hands and knees. If you need a support, a pad or a blanket up underneath the knees, go ahead and add it in. We're going to start in tabletop position. So you may not have ever noticed what's happening in your chest here when you're stacked on your arm. So that's what I want us to kind of hone in on. So with your knees under your hips are slightly behind and your toes untucked, push down at first through shins, ankles, and feet. And when you really press through that back anchor, you're going to find that that really draws the abdomen in and up. All right, now look down at your hands. Spread the fingers wide. Now start to apply that anchoring pressure down through your hands. Feel the action in your arms, the muscles hugging close to the bone. This is strengthening for the bones. But notice when you apply this pressure, how it activates the muscles in the chest and in the upper back. All right, now let's start to create cow as we breathe in, bowing the spine, lifting the sits bones and top of the head. And then as you exhale, you're gonna round it to catch stretch, all the way down the belly and chest. All right, continue, inhale. So we often focus like flexibility of spine. Sometimes we focus on the health of the inner organs. Sometimes we focus on where we're stuck in our back as we maneuver between these two positions. But today, I want you to consider how it's helping our lymphatic system, right? We have the lymph nodes in the neck. We have them in the chest, in the pits of the arms, in the belly, in the growing region. Notice what it's affecting. Good, now come to more of a flat back, curl the toes under, launch into Adho Mukha Svanasana, your downward facing dog. You're pressing into your palms, stretching up and out through the vertebrae. And you're gazing back towards the wall. Now remember, inversions are helpful. We've got the hips and heart higher than the head. Travel the feet now forward towards the top of the mat. When the feet come to the top of the mat, you're hinging over into Uttanasana. Again, another inversion where the hips and heart are elevated over the head. Pausing here, breathing into this deep stretch through the back of the body. Emphasizing your exhalations and affirming nothing and no one on this earth can hold me down or back. On your next inhale, slide your hands up your leg bones, hop up halfway, and then exhale, slide the hands down, and allow the crown to face the floor. All right, we're gonna lace the hands behind the base of the skull. And instead of allowing the elbows to fly open, we're gonna let the arms just collapse towards the face. So you're not pulling your head, but the relaxation of your arms are gonna bring a little bit more traction to the neck. Your chin may be coming in towards your chest. Take about 3 more breaths. And now gently release the hands down. Slowly come all the way up. You might want to bend your knees and prop your hands to your thighs to come up all the way. You might feel a little lightheaded because you were inverted for a while. Stand with attention, but with your hands to prayer position at your heart. Pressing through the feet, thighs rolling in, belly zipping up. Close the eyes. On your next inhale, let your arms circle wide and overhead. And as you exhale, bring your hands down the center and forward into your Uttanasana. From Uttanasana, we're stepping into plank. So when we step back into our plank position, we're going to do the weight bearing here. Keep the head up. Keep your mind focused on your breath. And then on your next exhale, you're gonna push the hips up and back to downward facing dog. Now, I told you I didn't want to jump or bounce, but we are gonna pump the feet. So as you inhale, lift to the toes. And as you exhale, drop low through your heels. And then you're doing that same with your breath. So you're inhale, lifting the heels high, and exhale, dropping the heels low. About 3 more. And then eventually settle back down to your knees. You're gonna cross your right arm in front of you. We won't be mirroring you across the way. The left arm is gonna extend in front. And we're gonna settle into half of a melting heart. So half melting heart, we're just emphasizing the shape on one side of the body. So your left side should be sinking lower than your right side because the right side's being supported. So let it gravitate down towards gravity. Deep diaphragmatic breath. Firming as you hold. Free in my heart. I choose to live without fear. Free in my heart. I choose to align with love. Next inhale, gently lift up long enough to swap the arms, extending the right, propping onto the left, half Anahatasana. The deep stretching with the deep breath work is key. In breath, we'll lift the face, we'll slide the right hand back, prop onto both hands. So we're gonna do a twist, because twists are really good for working the ones in the abdominals, but this is also an inversion. So flip your left hand open. You're gonna go into thread the needle pose, taking the left arm below the right, sinking down towards the left side of your face. Pressing into the right hand to keep it active. And then if you want to approach it another way, some people like to cross the right arm behind the back. One last breath on this side. Then inhale, exit out. Exhale, slide back in. Pressing into the left hand to stay active as you roll towards the right shoulder blade, or you can approach it in a more relaxed way, or you can amp it up and thread the left arm behind your back. Yogi's choice. So we're actually not gonna do pink dog from downward facing dog, since we did it at the wall. But after we get out of this one, we're gonna move into downward scorpion because it has a very similar element to it. On your next in-breath, let's go ahead and return to tabletop. When you're ready, exhale, down dog. Now, the wall may be in your way for the first little bit. Just work with it. Take your right leg up. Bend the top knee. Push back away from your palms. Drop your head and look up underneath the right arm as you take downward scorpion. So when you bend that right knee, the knee is like lifting towards the ceiling and the foot's kind of flopping down towards the buttocks. Very similar to pink dog in that action. And then lower the right foot. Take your time, elevating the left leg, bending that top knee, and then creating that twist. Stretching from your left hand up to the left knee. One more breath. Good, and exhale, release. Now sink down to knees and come to a comfortable seat for a moment. All right, so what we're gonna do, in the last class, we ended with a handstand. We're gonna end with a handstand too, except we're gonna do it in the most gentle way. So it's not as scary. And you don't have to worry so much about the structure of it like they had to do in the last class. So main thing is palm shoulder distance apart, fingers equally splayed apart. We're going to use the wall and we're just going to walk up backwards, okay? So to do that, we basically just get the hands set in place. We drop the head. We start to walk the feet up the wall. And you're using the wall for support. And when you feel weak, you just walk back down. Okay, so don't feel like you have to stay in it, because I know this is a gentle class. But inversions are really great for the lymphatic system. And this is, if you enjoy doing this at the wall, it's really fun to do outside against a fence or against a tree. It's really fun to do with kids around, because then you can show them this trick. And they want to do it, and it can be a lot of fun. If you feel like you don't have the wrist or upper body strength, don't worry about it. Yeah, even just doing down dog, even doing plank pose, that's going to help to build that strength factor. And when you're done, you come on down. Words like, I'm going to forget. It's fun to go upside down like that. And what's nice about the angle is you don't feel as much pressure in your shoulders and or that brunt of weight in your hands like you would at a perfectly 90-degree angle or being completely upside down. That makes it more gentle and fun. We're gonna come down onto our backs. This way, just because I'm facing the camera. And you're going to tuck your knees in, wrap your arms either behind your thighs or on top of the knees or shins. And then we're going to fan the arms out shoulder height. And allow the knees to roll to the left. And just pay attention when you roll the knees to the left, if you had to monitor your lower body as you were rolling into the twist due to your back. If we keep the feet touching the floor or barely let them hover, it's going to affect more of the lower back. And the more the knees are tucked into the chest when you roll into the twist, it's going to move up
into your mid and upper back. You're welcome to turn your head to one shoulder. And just kind of observe how much or little space there may be between the legs. How much or how little space there is between your shoulders and mat. Practice your deep diaphragmatic breaths. So at the other studio I teach at, they have the wall painted in the bathroom, so it looks like a chalkboard. It's really their community board, and then they'll say, like, they'll ask a question, and then everybody can write on the board, similar to what we had at Half Moon. But the recent question that's up is, how has yoga changed your life for the better? And everybody has different things, right, that they have to say. And we were laughing the other day because one answer was, I have 2 babies. And so we were laughing at that, like, how did yoga be the catalyst for your 2 babies? And then once we had a laugh about it, I was like, really, it's actually pretty simple. Because a lot of infertility stems from too much stress. And lots of times, a doctor will say, if you're having or under a lot of stress, try yoga, try meditation to de-stress. And when you lessen the stress, then your body's open to be fertile. Just like your body can be open to heal and to recover. Inhale, roll the knees through center, and exhale, take them over to the right. And experimenting on this side. Did your feet need to still be touching the floor when you took the twist? Or could they hover? There's no right or wrong. Cater to your body, but just observe the differences and the similarities between one side and the other. Diaphragmatic breaths. But before you exit out of the pose, I want you to consider what you need for Shavasana. Maybe you want to send the legs back up the wall. Maybe you want to go into waterfall with the bolster underneath the sacrum. Perhaps you want a restorative back bend, since we didn't do a lot of back bending today. We did some with melting heart. We definitely worked with the shoulders.
So if you want a restorative position, take that. If you need corpse pose or bolster under your knees, go ahead and exit out. Figure out what shape you want to be in for your rest period. Take your time settling in to make sure both your mind and body are in agreement with where you've placed yourself. I need to step to the back to drink some water. I'll be right back. into a relaxed state. We believe as much breath. Since we're getting up to move, go ahead and engage with your breath again. Once you open up the breath of life, open up a little movement, maybe in your hands or feet. Exiting the pose that you had chosen. Find your way up to a seat. Sitting upright. Tuning in. Joining your hands together to prayer position at your heart. May we all recognize the light and love that we hold inside. May we recognize the light and love in each other. Let's bow respectfully to one another, knowing that our lives, when put together, can make a difference. When our love is joined together, it can be impactful. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thanks, you guys, for showing up today. Doing some work on the wall. I know I went a little bit more scientific today instead of the spiritual direction I take, but sometimes it's nice to break away and focus a little bit on the anatomy aspect of it. I know when I first started yoga, I was only 26, but man, every time the teacher said, oh, this pose is good for this or that, it was like, oh, okay, well then, now I want to do it, because now I know what it's doing for me. So sometimes it's nice to focus on like that aspect of it too. And now you know if you ever have any issues, like if you ever have any surgery, it doesn't even have to be breast cancer surgery, it could be heart surgery, right? Or it could be, you know, anything happening with your inner organs. You need to continue to open it up, to work it out, especially that scar tissue gets really, really dense. And it needs to become more porous again. And only will do that if we work with it. Surgical adhesions. Yes.